Enzo Maresca's future is safe for another year. And are we planning to let this striker go to bring in this striker? My friends, we have a lot of big stories and developments worth discussing today. So I hope you guys enjoy, man. Show us some love. Subscribe to my TikTok channel. And don't forget to catch today's big video on Rodrigo. You don't want to miss out on that one. Hope you enjoy, and let's get straight into things. We start things by discussing the surprising story involving Nicolas Jackson. Now, this comes out from journalist Mate Moretto from Relevo, the Spanish publication, and essentially he reports that unnamed clubs have been making inquiries over the availability of Nicolas Jackson, and we aren't opposed to selling Nico as long as the money is right. It would take a pretty substantial bid because the club really do back him. They do believe in him. And if Nico was set to go, it would have to fall down on two things. A great offer you can't turn down. And number two, Nicolas Jackson actually wanting to leave and wanting to go. In terms of clubs who are looking at him, if I was to take like an educated guess, I'm looking at maybe a Newcastle in case Isak decides to go. But I'd be surprised by that. I'm looking at Barcelona. I feel like low-key, I could see Nico Jackson cooking alongside Rafinha and Yamal, especially with Lewandowski remaining there for another year. That could be like the best balance for him. He goes back to Spain, he plays La Liga football, he plays for a super offensive team that create chances for their players, that actually plays to his last line strengths. They're the two clubs I'm looking at who could be in the market to sign another striker, but would it surprise me if maybe like an Arsenal or someone else came in for him? Or even a Liverpool? Probably not, to be fair with you. I think Nicolas Jackson is really suffering with this phenomenon I tend to see where once you've been sussed out by teams in your second season, this is where it's normal to have a bit of a dip in your performances. It's normal to face a bit of a dip in terms of your output because teams have different plans for you now. I think Nico hasn't been helped by the injuries which slowed down his progress. I think the main thing that really hurt his season, not his whole season, but the second half of this season, was the fact that he was the only fit striker available. It meant that times when he was like physically low, when he was run down, when he was burnt out, he still had to play. He still had to be on the field where he has to lead the line with the press, run the channels, drop deep, back into defenders, go for aerials, a lot of running, a lot of movement. And the moment the goals are against you and not part of your game, you're going to feel an additional mental fatigue on top of the physical fatigue. And I think this is why Nico really suffered in 2025. I mean, suffer's a strong word. He has done good things for the team in terms of like making assists for Cole Palmer. But I mean, let's keep things real, man. Before the goal he scored recently in 2025, the last time he scored was against Brentford near the end of December. To go like nearly, 4 to 5 months without a goal, it's not helpful. And if we had a bit more of a clinical presence in the team, that would be the difference between, some of the points that we dropped and gaining, more points based on performances that we put in that were pretty decent overall. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to ask you guys this. What offers would you accept for Nicolas Jackson? Are you like Nini? Anything 40 million above, I'll take it, bro. Like, we'll reinvest that into a Top Gun, man. Are you guys really going to accept offers that low? Let me know. Do you feel like Nico could command a massive fee because of his potential? This is someone where he kind of started life at the professional level quite late. So I guess the upside would be is that he would realistically have a lot of longevity behind his career as he gets older. And he's had 2 great foundational years at the highest level where he hasn't sunk. He's learned a lot. He's shown that on his day, he can be a really formidable player. He's a great team player, great tactics. There's a lot of good benefits to Nicolas Jackson's game outside of being that established finisher that he just isn't at this point in time. I might sound a bit controversial because I have backed Nicolas Jackson. I believe in this guy's potential for sure. But then, on the other hand, potential is everywhere at the same time. If Nico wanted to go, would I be upset? Maybe not. to be fair with you. I'm not really as, you know, like emotionally invested in the players as I used to be, like when I was younger. It's not the case anymore now. But I don't know if the money was really good and we were using that to sign like another established player or, you know, someone else on his level. I mean, you know, maybe I'm not going to ignore that too quickly. Maybe I'm sounding like a bit mad to some of you guys. Listen, I do rate Nicolas Jackson, but it's just a case of, well, if it's business, it's business. There's no emotions here. It is what it is. But again, I'm not forcing him to leave the club. I don't want him to go. But if it happens, it happens. And I just feel like with the striker market in particular, this summer, there are an abundance of opportunities and great players and great prospects about where essentially it's like one in, one out, in my opinion. So share your thoughts. Would you be annoyed to see Nicolas Jackson go? Do you want to see him leave? Let us know how you're feeling. Two more big stories. I want to spend more time focusing on Enzo Maresca and the club's decision. But before I do that, we have to tackle the other striker report surrounding a player that I've been gassing for a while. If you guys have been watching me over the years, I've spoken about this guy a few times. His name is Joao Pedro of Brighton. I think that this guy will be one of the next great Premier League strikers. Again, he is kind of in that Nico Jackson ball range where, you know, he's not as clinical just yet, but he does have, I would say, more of a variety behind his finishing and his shooting. Great versatility playing across multiple positions. The guy wins penalties for fun and can take them. And obviously with his dribbling threat as well and his skill, I really am impressed by Joao Pedro. And I actually think that if something happened here, it would make sense. Regardless, we've learned today from the Telegraph that us, Liverpool and Arsenal are paying attention to Joao Pedro, and for very good reason. I always kind of low-key thought that Pedro would make a lot of sense at Liverpool, just linking those inside forwards at the club. I think that would really suit him. I can see why Arsenal would want someone of his profile, to be fair. I think this guy has maybe like a higher ceiling at the moment compared to a Gabriel Jesus. And for us, I think he would be a great player to have as he can play across different positions. He could even play alongside Nico where the opportunities arise. But if the club decided, you know what, we just received 60 mil for Nicolas Jackson, you know, why not just sell him, reinvest those funds into a Pedro who complements what we want, has shown himself to be one of the next promising strikers in the Premier League. He scored like 30 goals in 70 games for a Brighton team where, you know, yeah, they make a lot of opportunities, but, you know, sometimes they have struggled at times to unlock teams with their possession game. I feel like Pedro has that ceiling where he is ready for the next level for sure. I'm just curious what type of money Brighton would ask for, because Brighton, when they sell, I mean, they really sell. We've been on the receiving end for a long time. I'm not one of those guys that has like PTSD about signing players from clubs that have like wrangled us for maximum profit. The game is the game, man. You know what I mean? Like most of the times when you're signing one of the next great players or a European class player or a world class player, they normally come from like the premium finishing schools, like your Dortmunds, your Brightons, your Leipzigs, your Villarreals, you know, your Sevillas, your Lyons. They're the type of clubs that you normally pay big money for to sign players from them because they have a history of producing that level of player for the big clubs. It's not very often, for example, you're seeing like Man City spending 60 mil on a prospect from Burnley. It doesn't work like that. So this is my perspective on that. This is why I don't really care about any of the PTSD, whatever. If you're a great player, no matter who you're playing for and we can get you, go for it. I do not care about the history. Like, would you guys say no as a believer in the future if any type of like crazy opportunities opened up? I'm sure you guys wouldn't be doing that, right? So I don't know. I'm curious to watch this report because I feel like he'll be a very popular player. And it's kind of annoying because I was working on a striker shortlist video for the summer. Spoilers, Joao Pedro was set to be on that list. So hopefully it will be out this weekend. But I'm going to let you guys know I'm going to be abroad this weekend. And you're going to be seeing me in different scenes and locations in the next few days. So share your thoughts and opinions. How do you feel about Pedro? Is this something more up your alley? Or do you feel like options like your Sejkos and your Davids and Etakites and all these guys, they are more suited for us? Let us know below. And for the final big report, if you're a Maresca fan, you can rest good, you can take it easy right now. And if you're not a Maresca fan, then this next year might be long for you. But in my opinion, I have to say common sense has prevailed because the club are not thinking about letting go of Enzo Maresca. I've been seeing a lot of these like rumors circulating throughout the news scene. I've been ignoring it. I've been hearing of Roma paying a lot of attention on Enzo Maresca, hoping something would get struck. But I just felt like if there was ever going to be a season where the club would maybe soften their stance on just getting rid of a manager due to like not hitting objectives, it would be this season for lots of reasons, which I'll touch upon. But you guys want to understand what the story is first. Now, pretty simple. The club won't be judging Enzo Maresca on his Premier League season form, irrespective of the fact if we happen to miss out on Champions League football and worse comes worse, didn't even win the Conference League. That's how much faith they have at the moment, because it comes down to two things. Number one, Maresca will be judged fairly and will be assessed at this summer's Club World Cup. And number two, when the club gave him the 5-year deal that Maresca said he needed so the club could prove their faith in his methods and his management, I even remember, like, around the summer period back then, he would be judged over 2 years minimum. 2 years minimum. The club kind of sympathized with the fact that injuries have worked against him, not having a striker, not having a finisher. They can probably take the L and take accountability for that, because you could have helped Enzo out in January and in the summer if you fine-tuned your strategy and didn't just waste so much time. It's funny, I read yesterday that the club felt like if they had that finisher who was able to convert a few more of these chances that we missed, we probably would have had Seal like without even thinking about it, which is obvious. So this is what I mean. If there's pressure on Maresca, just for the sake of conversation, I think there's 10 times the pressure on the board now, because you are the decision makers. You hire Maresca as the head coach, not the manager. Yeah, you make the executive decisions. Some of the things that he's wanted, he's not been given. He hasn't complained about. He's got on, and he's been playing the game how you want him to. So he's showing that he's fully about this cause. For me, the directors now need to show up this summer, make it happen, because if they show up for us this summer like they've shown on a few occasions with your Caicedo signings, etc., interesting things can happen again. Going back to Enzo Maresca, they also look at the data as they tend to do when it conveniences them, and the underlying numbers for like expected goals, big chances created, etc., they show promising signs that the football is working. Our defensive record, which has improved a lot, the sense of control that we have in games, the pressing has got stronger at times as the season's been progressing. This tells them that there is something here. And you know what? Just to give my thoughts and opinions straight away, I'm so glad that I'm actually discussing this, because I'm sorry. Every manager needs at least 2 years. You know, we've been chasing your Liverpools and your PSGs and all these clubs who were once at the stage we were at, but then overcame that and became more serious teams. But they were able to get there because they had a manager or head coach that they gave a minimum of 2 years to develop the team. You know, everyone's praising Luis Enrique this season. I remember when the managers were getting linked with us before, Pochettino came in. I remember like 75% of people were against Enrique, said that it was Messi, and Neymar and the front three that kind of gave him a job. You know, his football won't work, etc. But look what he's doing at Paris Saint-Germain, one of the best footballing teams on the planet in 2025, yeah? Could he have got there if Paris Saint-Germain didn't back him? The football wasn't the same last season when he had Mbappe. He had to work under constraints. The board backed him. They were like Kolo Muani, Ramos, guys that we splashed nearly 200 million on. You don't want them? Say less. We'll get rid of Muani. We'll wait for Ramos to go. We'll get you Kvaratskhelia. We're going to buy into your vision. And look at them right now. They could win the Champions League. And I hope they do, because I want to see a footballing team get the results this year, right? Am I saying that Enzo Maresca can make a similar transformation? You know what? I think so. I've done enough research. I've read enough interviews. I've just done so much of everything where it's like, we aren't seeing the full Enzo Maresca vision just yet. When he was at Leicester City and they had similar, mishaps that we faced second half of the season, he was like, I need to be here for a few years. This is phase one. I have my phase two plans. You can't do phase two and phase one in the same season. It doesn't work like that. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Now that the team have the basics and foundations at a pretty strong level right now, we can now upgrade that. We can now update what we do, add new rhythm, add new passing rotations, add these types of elements to the team. That can get boosted even more if the right players come in to really complement and boost Maresca's vision. But I do feel optimistic. I've not really had any issue with Maresca. Of course, there's been plenty of times I've been annoyed. There's been plenty of times I've been frustrated. But it hasn't lasted forever. It's not like other managers where when you were frustrated with them, they had no other ideas. They kept on spamming the same bad meta that was working against us. At least with Maresca, credit to him. He has shown and displayed a willingness to adapt at times. And you know what? For a guy that's still learning on the job himself, listen, hopefully we end the season with CL football and winning the Conference League. That will give him more confidence and esteem in the fan base. But I do think there is more to come from him. And really, it's a joint effort now from the boards, the transfers that we bring in, Maresca and the team now to combine together to take us to that next level. You can see the differences between himself and Pochettino. Poch had a short-term contract, so if he bounced after a year, there were already clauses in that deal which safeguarded us to begin with. And in terms of Enzo Maresca, we've just backed him too much because when he was hired to become part of a club-wide vision. That vision affected Strasbourg with the hiring of Liam Rosenior, who implemented a style of football the club want to have across the entirety because it was working. So you think you can do better than what was working? We're going to find out. But we hired the under-23 coach to implement a style of football that connects the academy, the first team, and the feeder club. So when you're really buying into that, and then you're hiring the head coach for your first team, you're not going to quickly get rid of this guy for anything unless you're really forced to due to desperate measures here. So this was the reason why I felt like he was always going to be safe to begin with. And you know what? This summer, I was not looking forward to talking about stupid links with other managers. I mean, who do we look to now? What? Lampard 3P or flipping Fabregas coming here? Or maybe Rosenior leaving Strasbourg at the worst time possible for them? Absolutely not, man. So there you have it, my friends. The latest stories today. Jam-packed day of news, man. I hope you guys have enjoyed because I'm out now. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Love. Cool.